Hello and welcome to A Book in 5 Minutes with me, Lindsay Milner. This week I'm looking at an electronic copy of a book, so I haven't got one to wave up and show you the cover. It is by Carr, well-known British comedian. Like a lot of entertainers during the lockdown period when there were no live shows going on, he turned his hand to writing. I mean, as a comedian, he obviously spends a lot of time writing jokes anyway. So maybe he thought this was a natural extension for him. And I've got to say, it was well worth a read. It was totally worth it. It's subtitled. It seems to have two subtitles. The Hilarious Guide to Changing Your Life. It's called Before and Laughter. The Hilarious Guide to Changing Your Life. Yeah, it is funny, definitely. There's lots of jokes packed in there. And it's also called The Funniest Man in the UK's Genuinely Useful Guide to Life. Something or other, it's not showing me now. Oh yeah, Genuinely Useful Guide to Life. So it's part autobiography, part self-help book, and part how to be a stand-up comedian. And I think it's useful on all of those fronts, to be honest. Not normally a fan of autobiographies, but the autobiographical part of this was because it's funny, because he's put the jokes in there, that was more interesting to read than many sort of standard autobiographies. The fact that it's got so much wisdom in there, as well as the humour and as well as the idea, you know, the hints and tips on how to be a stand-up, if that's what you wanted to do, makes this a really interesting, engaging read. So the only caveat is, if you've heard any of his material, you know that he's not everybody's cup of tea. If you're easily offended, if you don't like comedians who swear, then, you know, I probably wouldn't risk it. But it is so good on the positive psychology, the wisdom that's in there. I would say if you're interested in somebody else's perspective on that, if you're interested in maybe getting out of your own comfort zone, that's one of his bits of advice that pretty much all self-help books have, is get out of your comfort zone. Maybe get over the sort of fear of the, you know, or dislike of the bad language, fear of the offensive type comedy, and look at it from somebody else's perspective. It is still actually well worth a read. There's the standard stuff in there about how to be happy, nature versus nurture, which we sort of talked about with Sonia Lyubomirsky's How of Happiness. There's stuff in there about your strengths, using your strengths, which we also covered with Alex Linley's book, Average to A+. Carr says, pick something that you're good at and learn to get better at it. He's got a theory of specialisation, and that is all about using your strengths and building on those. He talks about taking risks, as I said, getting out of your comfort zone, and he talks about your disposition. Are you a happy person? Are you an unhappy person? And makes the distinction between unhappiness and depression. They're not the same thing. He talks about purpose. Know what you want. Once you know what your purpose is and know what you want, it's easier to do the things that are required in order to help you to meet your goals. And he says as well, prioritise later over now. You know, again, invest in the things that seem like hard work rather than spending your time on the sofa watching the TV, because that will get you towards your goals better than just sitting and watching the latest box set. There's a chapter as well called Feel the Fear and Shit Your Pants. A little bit of a riff on Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. His advice really is the same, is you do have to do it anyway, even though you are so terrified that you probably are shitting yourself before you go ahead and actually do the thing. Those nerves are normal. And another key one that he talks about is take responsibility for your own life. He talks about, you know, if you're 16, you can probably still get away with blaming it all on your parents. But, you know, by the time you're 40, stop blaming everybody else and take some responsibility for your own life, your own situation. If you're unhappy with it, change it. If he can do it, anyone can do it. He took what was a boring life and now he has what he calls an interesting life. I've got a little bit of a thing against people who say, oh, if I can do it, you can too, because I think we've all got different strengths and different things that we can do. But the kind of general principle of, you know, if we can learn to be happy, if we can learn to deal with setbacks in life, if we can learn to get over our fear and do the things that we feel we really do want to actually do, then yeah, if he could do that, pretty much the rest of us can too. So that's this week's book. It's called Before and Laughter by Jimmy Carr. Well worth a read, unless you're easily offended and don't like swearing. But other than that, I loved this book. I really enjoyed reading it. It was totally worth the time and effort. So that's it for this week. Until next time, bye.